final segment of the day here in our live National Signing Day show with National Football Editor Steve Spiewak. I'm Steve Montoya. This is all presented by Jimmy John's and American Family Insurance. Hard to believe the day is pretty much over.
It's a little bittersweet, but
yeah,
at the same time, it's nice that we are saying goodbye to the class of 2014, and I'm excited to welcome the class of 2015 to the national spotlight.
That's right, and we want to look back on the day, some of the kind of bigger moments, not only during our live telecast, but then just in general throughout the country who won. Some of the big names who headed to certain schools, and we're going to start first with an announcement we streamed live that's at Nephi Leilau, and here it is from earlier today.
Well, first and foremost, I'd like to thank the man upstairs, because obviously you know and I know that we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. And then my parents and my family. And I know I can't emphasize this enough, but each and every one of you guys, I really do love you guys, and I really wouldn't want to go to college. I really would rather stay here with you guys, but you know, I got love for each and every one of you, and I'm so thankful I got to be at this school with you guys for the past 4 years. And guess I'll cut to it so everyone can figure it out. For the next 4 years, I will be going to
All right, so that happened right here on MaxPreps. He was choosing between Stanford and Vanderbilt, and he was very emotional for obvious reasons, and he selected Vanderbilt. That was
See what he did there with the hat. He didn't have the Vanderbilt hat on the table. He pulled it out, and to the surprise of everyone.
Yeah, that's right, and it was great to get that on MaxPreps and have it live and get to see his emotions. Speaking of live announcements, we also had one from Norcross and their 5-star recruit, Lorenzo Carter. Have a listen.
After thinking long and hard, praying about it, talking to my family, I'll be spending the next 4 years of my life at University of Georgia.
And that's Lorenzo Carter right there, selecting Georgia. And when we streamed that Norcross event, it was about 20 kids that went through. Finally, Lorenzo went through. He selected the Bulldogs, and good class for Georgia. Nice pickup there with Lorenzo.
Yeah, and he didn't pull a hat out under the table. He pulled out a stuffed bulldog, which I also appreciate.
Yeah, getting creative nowadays. And then as we look back on the day towards the later part of the day for the West Coast kids, USC tore it up. We're going to go through their 3 recruits right now, starting with the big guy who went first, Mr. Mama.
Damian Mama was the first domino to fall for the big finish to the 2014 USC Trojans recruiting class. And we had Jason Negro on earlier today just talking about how impressed he is with Damian Mama and just how physically advanced he is, and how he believes that Mama is going to step right in and mix it up and compete for a starting job with his level of physicality and with his size. So USC has a true difference maker at the guard position, and that was the start of the Trojans' big day for head coach Steve Sarkisian.
And the next one that came in was the playmaker, Adoree Jackson, and they're getting some speed and some talent.
Yeah, we've seen Adoree Jackson for 3 years on varsity, and it's always a matter of kind of holding your breath when he gets the ball, because you never know what you're going to see. He's always a threat to take it to the house, even if he's playing defense. You know, he had, I think, several interceptions returned for a touchdown. So, you know, some people say, well, he's a threat to score whenever he gets the ball. He's a threat to score even when he's on defense, and he's just truly a pleasure to watch. One of the most exciting guys in high school football in a long time, and he's another big piece to the 2014 recruiting puzzle for the Trojans.
Yep, and then the last piece of the day for them was John Juju Smith from Long Beach Poly, another Trojan.
Yeah, this was a guy who, as we talked about earlier, some people thought he might end up at Oregon. For a while, I think Notre Dame was holding out hope, but at the end of the day, he is the final piece to the 2014 Trojans class, a very, very gifted receiver, another guy that could compete for playing time right away. And, you know, obviously USC has had a tremendous recent history and a tremendous history in general with producing top flight wide receivers. And so he's going to go, and he'll probably be competing for playing time, you know, lining up opposite Nelson Aguilar in the Trojans offense. But just you can't overstate, how big of a day this has been for USC. You know, Trojans fans, kind of their first taste of Steve Sarkisian on the recruiting trail. I think they have to give him very, very high marks for the effort he did in reeling in some very, very highly recruited players.
And I think we have a graphic of all three of them together. Yeah, there it is. USC fans have to love to see that. I know they're waiting for the official letter of intent to come in from Midori, but right now they're all USC bound.
I just texted Sarah head coach Scott Altenberg trying to figure out when Adori's letter will actually make its way in, but you're right, USC has not officially announced him as a member of their recruiting class yet.
All right, let's talk about maybe, I guess, two of the biggest surprises of the day, starting off with Braden Smith.
Braden Smith was a guy that earlier on the show I thought might end up at TCU, but as it turns out, he was wooed by a recent trip to Auburn, and that swayed his decision to become an Auburn Tiger. And what J.C. Sherbert told us earlier is that in Auburn's offense that requires a lot of movement and pulling of the guards, he thinks that Braden Smith, with his size and with his athleticism, is just going to come in and be a big-time difference maker in Auburn's offense. So big surprise for Auburn that went in their favor.
Yep.
Whereas they also lost a recruit. So kind of both sides of the coin for Auburn today. Rashawn Evans, big-time linebacker out of Auburn High School. Everybody expected him to be an Auburn Tiger. He ends up signing with Alabama. So a bittersweet day for Auburn fans. But they also got Andrew Williams at the Eagles Landing Christian Academy. So I think they're happy with the way that Gus Malzahn and staff closed out on National Signing Day this year.
You know how we're going to close out? We do have one more recruit to get to, but we're going to close out at least now with another great graphic by our guy JD. We want to take a look at Mr. Braden Smith. Why we did this is because how strong he is.
Yeah, you know, I'm not sure those proportions are too far from how big Braden actually
or
is.
Me.
Or you, yeah, but Braden could actually become that size when he gets into the college weight room and starts lifting. But I think he is a national caliber weightlifter for his age. You know, 17 years old, bench pressing 515 pounds for 3 reps. And he also has incredible statistics, you know, squatting and other sort of weightlifting metrics. So he is he's going to be really fun to watch. You know, I can't wait for him at the NFL Combine in 3 or 4 years, seeing how many reps he can do on the bench. You know, maybe we'll see a new record by then.
Yep. And we started this segment off with Nephi Lalo choosing Vanderbilt over Stanford, but Stanford did make out, and one of the guys they got was Solomon Thomas.
Solomon Thomas was a big early commitment for the Cardinal, and it was a great recruiting victory because up until last night and entering this morning, it seemed as if all the momentum in the 24/7 crystal ball was swinging in the favor of the Arkansas Razorbacks. However, he went with his longtime favorite and signed with the Cardinal. And as we've talked about, you know, Stanford's strength, I think, is really on both sides of the line. They are a highly physical program, and I think they pride themselves on that. So their offensive line has been outstanding in recent years, and now their defensive line will continue to be very, very tough with the addition of Coppell star defensive end Solomon Thomas.
Well, that'll close out our day. We know there's still some things that'll happen in the class of 2014, and we'll be on top of that. But like you said, now it's starting to look ahead to next year already. I know you're going to start coming up with team rankings coming up here in the spring and summer, and looking ahead to the class of 2015 and beyond. Fun day, great to see these kids move on.
Absolutely.
Well, we want to thank everybody on the MaxPreps team who helped make this day so great, and congratulations to all the prospects in all sports who are moving on to the next level. So for Steve Spiewak, I am Steve Montoya, and everybody at MaxPreps, thanks for joining us here on our live National Signing Day show presented by Jimmy John's and American Family Insurance.